Bengals, Steelers. Shady, Joe Burrow missed the playoffs last year. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, so I'm going to ask you this question. With the playoff hopes on the line, biggest game you could suggest of his career in the last 24 months, can he afford to miss the playoffs?
Yes. I mean, he's a great player, right? And we hate to see our young great players in their prime miss playoffs, but it's happened before. I think he's so good that it really doesn't matter, right? Because we know we're going to see him again in the playoffs. We know potentially we'll see him again in the AFC Championship game because he is that good. It just happens that his team is not as good, right? And he's not delivering them wins like he used to. But he'll be fine. I mean, Vince Rockenberg, he missed some games, right? He missed some playoffs. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. A lot of the great players that we know as quarterbacks, they missed some playoff runs. That's okay. The only thing with Joe Burrow is he can't keep missing them.
Yeah.
You missed last year. Okay, I banged up, cool, we'll give you. Okay, you missed this year. Even though you're having a crazy year, we giving you a pass. I can't give you a pass next year. I don't care if you have 5,000 yards. Because sometimes it has to translate. You having 4,800 yards, you having all these touchdowns, you number one in all these different categories as a quarterback, and you're missing the playoffs, now that ain't adding up. You do all them stats to get your team in the playoffs. Yeah. Saquon Barkley, you up there for the season record for rushing? Your team is in the playoffs. Josh Allen, talk about might be the MVP. Okay, well, what did that translate? Oh, in the playoffs. You talk about Jared Goff, all these other dudes, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. All these stats these guys got, they're in the playoffs. So that's why you do it for. So if Joe missed another one, though, I won't be as kind and as graceful.
I can't be as kind or as graceful if he misses this one.
Oh, so right now?
No, because and mainly because of how highly I propped Joe Burrow up. Before the show, we were talking about where Joe Burrow ranked. Prior to this season, I said Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback in football.
Right.
The only one.
I said Patrick Mahomes is number one. Me personally, I had Joe Burrow at number two. Josh, Lamar, 3-4. Lamar, Josh, 3-4. But I always had Burrow as second because Burrow had been to a Super Bowl, something that Josh Allen had not done, something Lamar Jackson had not done either.
Yeah.
So Burrow, to me, was always number two. I can no longer keep claiming you're the second best quarterback in football. That's long gone if you miss the playoffs for the second consecutive season.
Dang.
Once people would suggest this for fluke, but twice becomes a habit. You missed it last year. That could be a fluke. You missed it again this year. Now it's starting to look like a habit. Furthermore, the AFC picture is not getting any easier, big dog. Josh and the Bills, if they're here to stay this year, they're here to stay every year. Because this is as bad as the Bills roster as we've seen since Josh Allen has been a starter.
That's true.
Sean Payton, if Bo Nix is here to stay this year, he's here to stay every year. Justin Herbert, if Jim Harbaugh has him here to stay this year, he's here to stay every year. Patrick Mahomes, does I need to talk about him?
Don't.
He's here to stay every year. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they already are in the playoffs every year. So, Joe Burrow, if you cannot make it now, it is only getting more difficult. Furthermore, we already know you get hurt.
Yeah.
Rookie year, ACL. Last year, injured. So in his first 4 years, he got hurt twice. One of the years he didn't get hurt, now you missed the playoffs. For me, Chase, it's just unacceptable for somebody I proclaim to be the second best quarterback in all of the land.
I'm just confused about this topic.
Don't be confused.
Because, like, when you say afford to miss the playoffs, say he misses the playoffs, which the chances are that they're going to miss the playoffs. So what is he affording? Like, what is he afforded to? Like, what happens? You know what I mean? It's like, can Joe Burrow afford to miss? He's going to miss the playoffs. So what's going to happen to him? You drop him in a ranking?
Reputationally, we got to drop.
Can I ask you real quick?
Respectfully.
I was going to ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
So let's say, okay, next year he misses the playoffs, right? And he has 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
Does it matter at all?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's what. Okay.
But like for me, I think he's gonna miss. Like he's gonna miss the playoffs this year.
Because a lot has to happen.
A ton has to happen. But respectfully, like no one on this desk talks about equity more than this guy right here.
That's true.
Shady McCoy. And I'm coming around on it. I understand that. Like I very, very much look in the present and I'm a prisoner of the moment a lot of the times. For this conversation, we can't be a prisoner of the moment. Like Joe Burrow in the playoffs, when healthy, he's made the playoffs every year he's been a starter, except this year. He missed 7 games last year. Injury, holding against him, not whatever. I'm not holding against him. He didn't play for his team 7 games last year. This year, okay, we got issues. Their team isn't as good. He's playing better than he ever has. But Burrow's 5-2 in the playoffs. He's been to 2 AFC championship games and a Super Bowl appearance, right? You look at Josh Allen, he's 5-5 in the playoffs, and for all we talk about him, 1 AFC championship game appearance. Lamar Jackson's 2-4 in the playoffs with 1 AFC championship game appearance, and we know how that went against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And so for me, I don't automatically, because your only year you've missed the playoffs, when healthy, like I don't automatically just start dropping you tiers. Like, I'm all about equiness, and Joe's proven, like, he can put up the stats. Now, the it factor is a different thing, right? This year, he has not, and at times he's been responsible for some of the losses. But there's been tons of guys, like Shady hit it, and Drew Brees, John Elway, Brett Favre, Big Ben, Eli Manning, all have multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Well, most of them do. And they've missed the playoffs more than once in their career. So missing the playoffs twice in your career is not a legacy killer for me.
Only thing is, them quarterbacks, though, Brady played for a long time, right?
I don't even put them in the same combo.
Okay. Let's go to Peyton Manning, right? Played a long time. Wait, who you want me to go with?
Well, those are the two of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Drew Brees?
Yeah.
Played for a long time. Yeah. He's only missed 2 or 3 times in the playoffs. Joe Burrow's still young. He's missed already 2. Another thing I disagree with you real quick is, so if you're injured, does that like not count at all because you injured?
He didn't play 7 games.
No, what I'm saying is, so if you're injured, you miss games.
Yeah.
Does that not count against you, I'm saying?
If he's not playing the game and they're not in the playoffs half the season, I don't think it counts. How does it count?
But here's the dilemma for me, James Jones.
And you can say he's injury prone, which I agree with.
40% of Joe Burrow's career, he's been injured, right? 40%.
Yes, torn
and
ACL.
60%, he would miss the playoffs if they don't make it this season. So how can we talk about Joe Burrow as this great, illustrious, amazing quarterback if 40% of the time you play, you get hurt, and 60% of the time you miss the playoffs? You're more likely to miss the playoffs than you are to make the playoffs, and you're nearly as likely to get injured as you are to be healthy. So, James, that's where I'm worried. It's like, Joe Burrow, you either finna miss the playoffs or you're going to get hurt, statistically speaking, more often than the other way.
I'm with Shady and Chase. I think he can afford to miss the playoffs. But at the same time, man, we can't keep talking about Joe Burrow the way we talk about him if he does keep missing these playoffs. Because we praising Joe Burrow right now, and his team is losing and not going to make the playoffs. And we talk bad about the Jalen Hurts, and we talk bad about the Aaron Rodgers because they lose, and we talk bad about a lot of these good quarterbacks because of their losing. But with Joe Burrow, since his stats is okay and they losing, we talk about him a lot and talk good about him, right? And the good things that we used to talk about Joe Burrow is finding a way to win. You've been healthy this whole year, putting up crazy numbers, and your team is still losing. I don't know if y'all know, but even when he was halfway healthy before he set out last year, they was losing. They had a losing record. You understand what I'm saying? So he hasn't really willed this team to victories in the last 2 years and put them in the playoffs. He hasn't. But we still sit here and talk about Joe because Joe's took this team from being the first overall pick to the Super Bowl and then to the AFC Championship. And we fell in love with the it factor with Joe Burrow. Well, the last 2 years, it ain't been the it factor. It hasn't. So next year, we can't sit here and say, yep, here comes Joe Burrow again, because it hasn't. But Joe Burrow is a super talented quarterback. We all up here had him at either number 2. Shady was the main one, like, hey, I can't put him in front of Josh. Me and you was like, nah, he in front of Josh right now. So to sit here and say even he's the 4th best quarterback not winning?
Right.
How are we just going to put him at 4 over these quarterbacks that are winning? Matthew Stafford's roster been garbage. And he's been in the last playoff the last 2 years.
That's true.
Like, they done traded away first-round pick after first-round pick after first-round pick. Stafford said, don't trip.
I got you.
I got you. The last 2 years they've been in the playoffs. And we don't even sit up here and really talk about Stafford like we talk about Joe. You know what I'm saying? So,
Great point, Joe.
I mean, I ain't going to blame him because he's young. He got a lot of football left, but it needs to start mattering by the way we talk about him, though.
You go from young to old quickly.
Yes, you do.
We saying Joe Burrow's young. He's been in the league 5 years now. That's a half decade. That's more than 4 years in college and an extra one. Like, he's been in the league for a long time now. If you miss the playoffs, for where I'm at with it, Chase, is like, one, injuries just matter. Injuries just matter.
That matters.
If Derrick Rose wouldn't have got hurt, maybe he would have won 5 championships. Unfortunately, he did. Injuries matter. So, one, he gets hurt often, but then when he's healthy, now you're going to miss the playoffs. How can we talk about him ahead of the Staffords? How can we talk about him ahead of the Hurts? How can we talk about him ahead of those guys who don't miss the playoffs and don't get injured? Like, how can you still talk about him quarterback?
This is his first year when he's healthy that he's missed the playoffs. Oh, I mean, we say miss.
If he
Probably
misses the
missed the playoffs. This is his first year. He's 5-2 in the playoffs. Like, I get, like, the Stafford thing's, it's great. Not a great roster. I mean, the last 2 years, take him to the playoffs. Obviously, he has a Super Bowl. Like,
find a
all
way.
that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You find a way. Sean McVay, excellent coach, all that. For me, though, I can't start talking about Joe Burrow like that. Like, it's like my tears are like Patrick Mahomes is up there alone in the atmosphere, right? And then it's like Burrow, Lamar, Josh in there. in
but how
second
can
tier.
we do that?
You're right.
That's how I do it, though.
But
I'm
how
saying
can you do what he's saying?
Lamar, Josh, and Burrow, if they're all in the same tier, but they have carried their teams to the playoffs, Lamar and Josh consistently.
So is all you
annually.
care about is wins? All we care about is wins right now. I'm just asking.
As for quarterbacks, what else do they care
Well,
about?
he's 5-2 in the playoffs.
When he gets there.
But he gets there. 5-2. Josh Allen's 5-5. Lamar Jackson's 2-4. I know he's got 2 MVPs. You want to talk about Lamar Jackson? He's 2-4 in the playoffs. Joe Burrow's been to the Super Bowl and almost won that thing against Stafford. Like he's 5-2.
3 years ago.
Yeah, that was 3 years
I don't care.
Lamar's never been. Lamar's never
That's what
been.
I'm saying. Josh Allen's never been.
so
He's
you're-
never been.
so I'm trying to
And
figure this
guess what? You know who Burrow beat in the playoffs? He's beaten Josh, and he's beaten Mahomes, and he's beaten a Lamar Jackson team without Lamar in the playoffs. He's beaten them.
So,
And we sit here talking like
last
he's not the
time-
guy
No, but
just
you-
because 1 year.
You fighting good right now.
Come on, dog.
Dog, you fighting good, dog.
What are we doing?
He's fighting back.
No, are fighting back, but when Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, they all go in the closet and they say, can I see your ring? No, ain't none of them got one.
Yeah, exactly.
So I
So
really
that's why
don't.
they're in the
So
same
I
tier
really
for
don't
me.
care about none of that. And these dudes is taking their teams to the playoffs every year.
Yeah.
But every year.
But to Chase's point, because Chase, you might have me swayed.
Come on, dog.
Like if Burrow got 5 playoff wins and Lamar only got 2, if Burrow got 5 playoff wins and Josh only got 5, even though Josh has 3 more games than Burrow, Burrow but Burrow's more efficient.
But hold on, no. So,
This is the only year he's been hurt that he hasn't made the playoffs.
so it was 3 years ago, right? Super Bowl run?
3 years ago.
So in that Super Bowl, you had to win how many games?
He won 3.
4.
No, to get
They were
lost
10 and
in the
7.
Super Bowl.
They did. Okay, so 3. Okay, so I mean, God, you say you got 5 wins. I mean, 3 of those is in 1 year.
So?
Correct. That's the James point. Like, yo, that was 3 years ago.
So what?
What have you done since there? Since we can't, what's what we can't do?
What can we do?
We can't praise you, right, for old stuff, and then the current stuff, we don't
You
look at
can't
it.
say that, Mr. Equity.
No, but that's a career. The same way with Sam Darnold, because that's what you're talking about, right?
This year.
Sam Darnold, his whole career has been
Yes.
in the trash can.
Yes.
Now we put him like out in front of everybody where he's doing well. I factor all that in there. Same thing with Joe Burrow. Yes, 3 years ago, you went to the Super Bowl. I love you for that. That was big. They took you first pick overall. You took to the Super Bowl. I get that. But now we're at where you are a superstar, you got superstar wide receivers and all that, and you're not even getting to the playoffs 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row? And we're not gonna talk about it?
Yeah.
Joe Burrow took his team.
If Josh Allen, with that offensive supporting cast, I won't,
depends on how it goes in the playoffs.
With that supporting cast he got over there, if he don't go to the playoffs, we're not gonna sit there and say, man, but his team wasn't that good. We're not gonna talk about that. Are we?
No, but
We're gonna say Josh Allen did not get to the playoffs.
I got him.
If Lamar Jackson's team, right, don't get to the playoffs, we're not gonna talk about who he had. Because he had some dudes that wasn't really that good before. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about if you don't get to the playoffs, it's your fault because you're the quarterback. You get paid all this money.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
So
this
what I'm
is the
saying
first
is,
year.
but you have to hold him accountable for that. You can't be having 4,800 yards and number one stats and everything as a quarterback, and your team is fighting to even try to get in the
100%.
playoffs.
So really
And I
quick,
agree,
really-
100% accountable.
Let me say this.
Act like it then.
Because I don't ever want to hear us have Jalen Hurts out of the top 5, if that's what we going with. Because Jalen Hurts done been to a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts done won a playoff game. Jalen Hurts wins every single year, way more than Burrow.
We're fighting back.
Way more. How's it different? Because Joe Burrow could throw a better ball? Because that's what we saying is
Right,
different now.
right.
So I don't ever want to hear
got
us
some better-
say, when we say top 3, top 5, we better say Jalen Hurts is in there somewhere
Come
too,
on now.
if we're going off of that.
you wanna talk
we cannot
winners,
go
sure.
off of that. We can't.
Sweet winners.
We can't go off of that.
Listen, you have a great running back.
Respectfully, we all know
Great running
Jalen
backs.
Hurts is not in the tier with those.
We don't know.
Man.
We don't know just because he don't throw a pretty ball.
From the tape you gave.
No.
From the tape
But
you
that's
gave,
the problem,
it's all
though.
good, bro.
But that's the problem because
I'm just saying, look, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is right now, absolutely Joe Burrow can afford to miss the playoffs. Because of what I said, he has equities, 5-2. He's been to more championships than all those guys.
I agree with you on that. I said that. But what I'm saying is you guys are taking a turn now.
We ain't talking about Jalen Hurts right now, dog.
but Jalen Hurts has been there, though, because that's what y'all saying. Take Lamar out and Josh out because they ain't been there. 2 of the special quarterbacks in the league, you saying Joe Burrow's 5-2 because he's been there. So put Lamar and him over there. Well, Hurts has been there. And Hurts wins way more than him.
Let's put Brock Purdy
Then
in
he
there.
needs to be in there too.
Championship game and
What
the Super
you
Bowl.
two are saying, Purdy needs to be in there too. And that's why I'm saying that ain't right.
Right.
We trying to make all this stuff around for Joe Burrow. That's not right. It ain't.
For me, the question is, when does equity run out? Because Burrow does have a lot of equity, but
Ton
now
of
Burrow
equity.
has missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. He made the playoffs 2 years in a row. So the equity that he's lost should balance out the equity that he's made. He missed the playoffs his
think
rookie
next year.
Rookie year, we can throw it out. Then he made the playoffs 2 years in a row, went to the Super Bowl. Missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. To me, that zeroes out. So at this point, he is now
Look,
out of equity.
I get what
But
you're
he's
saying.
lower
in
than other dudes, though, right?
2023.
Lower than Josh and Lamar? Of
Yeah.
course.
So, because like, all I'm saying is, it was a point in time where I used to argue with people about who was number 2 quarterback in football, right? I thought it was
did.
Josh.
Joe
a lot of people
liked
had
that,
Joe Burrow. And I wasn't mad because Joe's so good.
No, yeah.
If you
Joe
think
was
Joe
like
number 2 right now, I'm cool with that because Joe is nice.
Joe's like that.
But now, today, even though you got all these stats, how can you be number 2 when, dog, you're not getting in the playoffs?
But let me ask you
And
this,
you weren't
Shady.
winning when you was
Does
healthy
it
last
matter?
year.
Are you better off going to the playoffs and getting bounced in the first game than not going at all? Is there any? Because Lamar goes to the playoffs and
It
they
gets
get
bounced in the first game.
kind of
Whoa.
question
Now,
is that,
ask
Acho?
yourself this. Is it better to go to playoffs or not go to playoffs?
Come on.
Oh, so what are we talking about? You play the game to get into the tournament. So my thing is like, no matter if Josh or Lamar has lost the playoffs, you going. How the hell are all these superstar quarterbacks? You the man. We pay all this money. That's why you pay the quarterback this much money, because he can elevate everybody on the team. And we get you there and you can't get to the playoffs, and we gonna argue about if you
You
in
could
the
make a
top
case
tier?
for this year's Joe Burrow team that if they didn't have Joe Burrow, they'd win 2 games.
missed.
Boy, listen, because y'all don't know Pat Mahomes,
Yeah.
right?
No.
I know Pat.
I don't know, Baby D.
You don't know Baby D, right? And when I seen it yesterday, I said, "Ooh, the league is in trouble."
Yeah.
Because one thing about Patrick Mahomes, the greatest players I've been around, the Toms, right, the Pats, they are super competitive.
No question.
I'm talking about. They don't lose nothing. Card games, chess, checkers, tic-tac-toe. They got attitudes if they lose.
Yeah.
He's like that.
Yeah.
I give you 2 scenarios. One, we playing the Bears, right? And Mitch Trubisky, I think, was the quarterback. Now, I don't be following all that with draft picks. I don't care about none of that. Now, I'm on a team. I wasn't even playing, so I had a lot to do. And y'all know how I am. I'm not an instigator, but I like to be the hype man sometimes.
Yeah.
And he was so, like, pissed off playing this game. I'm thinking, like, we about to smoke the Bears. Right? I'm going to give me some playing time
What year
today.
was it?
I forget what year. Oh, 2019.
I was
2019.
there. I was there.
And we was with the Bears. Okay, so we beat on y'all. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So anyway.
Barely.
So look, as we get into the game, right, he's so focused, whatever, we start playing, he scores a touchdown, right? He started doing the little, he's counting. I said, okay, is he gonna get 4 touchdowns? Okay. He scored again. He started doing it again. So I'm like, yo, why he keep doing that? What's going on?
Took that man in front of him?
Dog, that's what it was.
Petty.
Trubisky, though. Nobody even talks about Trubisky.
oh,
Look at
there it
this.
is.
I ain't a liar. I'm not a liar.
10
Listen,
where he's drafted.
so check this out. He was counting how many, rounds they, or not rounds, but picks they passed him up. And Chicago took Mr. Trubisky instead of taking Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, dog, you still in your mind thinking about how because Mr. Trubisky ain't really nobody even talk about, right? But in his mind, as being the MVP at this time, he was the MVP at this time, right?
Yeah.
We won a championship this year. You was big time, and that still has something against you. Like, okay, I got to make this thing right.
Good story.
That's how competitive he is. So now when I get the Pro Bowl, oh, okay. So you think Joe Burrow's not going to playoffs? You think he's better than me? Oh, wait. You think Josh Allen? Oh, you think he's better than I am? Wait, time out. So you think Lamar Jackson? You think they better than me? Cool. So he might not get. He can't laugh right now though. He'll get the last laugh. That's who Patrick Mahomes is.
I can't follow that up.
You know, it's one thing about athletes, right? When we play this game. You want to play this game for some money to make sure you're good, taking care of your family, or even yourself, setting yourself up. And the next biggest thing is RESPECT.
What it means
To me, you played the game for respect. Respect from your peers and your teammates, first off, and then the world. You want respect for your game. This right here, to me, is disrespectful to Patrick Mahomes. I don't care about nobody's stats. This man is 15-1.
Come on now.
The best player in the world, in the National Football League, and you leave him off the Pro Bowl list for somebody else because they got some better stats than him. To me, it's disrespectful because that is when equity keeps in. I led the league in touchdowns, and you know what? They put Larry Fitzgerald in there. You know why? And I was hot, but he had way more equity than me. He probably got double teamed. I didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So with Patrick Mahomes being 15-1, playing the best schedule every single year because he's the #1 seed and winning Super Bowls, and you leave him off this Pro Bowl list, this is absolutely disrespectful, in my humble opinion, to Patty Mahomes. And I know those other dudes is having great seasons, but I don't care who got to come off. Somebody got to come off that list for Patrick Mahomes.
It just hit me, man. Because now I have my Patrick Mahomes moments. It's like when you play with players, you don't know how great they're going to be. Because the year I got with him, the year before that, he had like 50 touchdowns. He was balling out. But, sometimes it might be a hit or miss, right? But being there with him, like, yo, this dude is super competitive. He's going to be a great player. And this is like, he has so much more to learn. But another story is we're in the training room, right? Pat, don't get mad at me. We're just having fun. Training room, and a training room in football, everybody, it's like where everybody hangs out and just talks ball, right? Talk about what happened last night, today, right? Practice. It's like the hangout spot. And it was on TV, and they were still trying to consider Aaron Rodgers the quarterback one, right? Because I think the year before, 2018, he didn't have a great year, but 2019, he was starting to come back on. Everybody loves to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. As we watching, I don't know if it was Fox, whoever it was, ESPN, whoever it was, we was watching, and they was like, Pat had a great year last year, right? But Aaron Rodgers is still his reign. Mm-hmm. And Pat jumped up like, I'm quarterback one. He said, we're going to see this year. He leaves out the training room like, oh, he's bothered by that. But that's good because it makes him hungry. And that year, you know what happened? Super Bowl. And guess what we called him? Quarterback one.
Still do. Still do.
That's different, bro. He's different.
I like it.
I think it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. And people are going to fight back. Who are you going to take off this list?
Somebody.
I'm like, you got to take somebody off.
Somebody.
I know Pro Bowl's not a win statistic, like you don't base wins, but they're 15-1 right now, the Chiefs are. It's tied for the third best single-season win percentage since 1950.
Come on, man.
And the guy who is quarterbacking that team did not make the Pro Bowl. But wait. 3 offensive linemen are starters on the Chiefs. Travis Kelce is a starter for the Chiefs. Where's the quarterback? Where's the trigger man? Where's the guy who makes all of it run? You know what's crazy is that, so for people that don't understand, the Pro Bowl is a third fan voting, a third coach voting, and a third player voting. So 2/3 of it are coaches and players. Respect. You didn't vote him in? You don't have the respect. Like, first of all, Mahomes is a little petty. The best players are. And I like that about him, actually. He's competitive. You should be.
You should be.
But how many of these players and coaches that didn't vote for him, how many of them would take him first overall right now? Not even a question. Every single one of them. But you don't vote him in the Pro Bowl, and people are like, oh, the Pro Bowl's falling off, this, that. It's Pro Bowl games.
No, I mean,
man, every single player wants to be in the Pro Bowl, so absolutely Pat's going to use this as motivation. And the team that doesn't need motivation is getting even more motivation, which is crazy.
I'm trying to figure out how, though.
How,
how do you leave Patty off this list?
He's the best player in football.
Best player in football.
Well, we didn't talk about Pat much this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we're so used to Patty just doing this stuff. That's why. We don't talk about Pat. Whoo, Burrow is 15-1 right now, boy.
Yo, but low-key, though, it's disrespectful, though.
It is.
Because the thing about this for a second, this is his league. You had a good year this year, it's still my league.
Which 3 made it?
Lamar,
Lamar's on.
Josh.
Allen is on.
And Joe.
So you got to take off Joe?
Yeah.
Somebody got to come off.
But
Lamar and Josh aren't coming off.
Man,
Lamar and Josh.
No, they can't. They're like,
man.
So you take off Joe?
Listen, bro.
I don't care who.
It sounds cool and all that, but I'm thinking about it like, you know how disrespectful that is? I'm 15-1.
But here's what I hate, and I hate this especially having to vote on stuff. What I hate is when you come out with the All-Pro list, you come out with the Pro Bowl list, then people take to social media, and you might be people.
Yeah.
Take to social media and say, man, so-and-so got snubbed. Well, then you tell me. Who should I have taken off the list? What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.